Hi, hello, it's me Jenna. Welcome back to my channel. Or if you're new, then hi, nice to meet you. My name is Jenna. I moved from the UK to Japan about a year and a half ago, and I started a sketchbook to remember all of the cool things I end up doing here. If you haven't watched episodes 1 to 3, I will put it somewhere so you can catch up on where we are, because we're going in chronological order. That was weird. And we chat about some pretty interesting things, so if you want to, go check it out. This is episode 4, and we're going to be covering October to November of last year, 2023, which includes a trip to Miyazaki, my birthday, and a mini trip to Osaka to meet some friends that came out to Japan. In this video, I wanted to talk about culture shock, as it was around this time that it started to kick in for me. So before I get chatting, here are the papers I have to stick in. I have a bunch of stuff like tickets, a map, and some birthday bits, so yeah. Culture shock was something I'd heard about before coming to Japan, so I was kind of expecting it. I just had no idea what it would be like for me. I had heard that it can hit you quite intensely around the 6-month mark, which is actually the time of these pages. There's a thing called the culture shock curve, and it's been studied. Supposedly you have a high after you move to a different country because you're having so much fun, and then this high drops into culture shock about 6 months in, and then slowly goes back up. It makes sense because around 6 months in, you're living in this new country, you're doing all the boring bits as well as all the fun bits, so it makes sense. And it's interesting that my experience matches quite closely with this graph, and so spoiler alert, it did get better. I'm still in Japan. So culture shock hit me in a number of ways actually. First, how different my diet had become. The food in Japan is obviously so different from the UK, and as a vegetarian I was beginning to struggle quite a lot, not only with the lack of choices but also a lack of protein. There aren't many soy meat products, so I have to rely mostly on tofu and fish. If you know of any vegetarian friendly solutions for living in Japan, and please let me know. And don't get me wrong, the food is great in Japan. I just had to get comfortable with eating fish again. I know it is my choice to have this diet. Having to adapt so much to this new lifestyle, it wasn't so helpful for the culture shock, I think. Secondly, around this time, I started really feeling like I was the foreigner on the train. I was that foreigner at the ward office, struggling. I was feeling a bit exposed, I guess, and I had quite a lot of anxiety about it. I was feeling a little bit like an inconvenience and like I didn't blend in. I struggled with paperwork, knowing how to pay bills, and everyday life stuff as well. I got used to it, and with my friends helping me so much, it was all okay, but it was another thing that added to the culture shock, for sure. Being a beginner at Japanese didn't help, because it was very scary to even order a coffee. I'd gotten over the excitement of being able to say "Kohi hitotsu kudasai, hoto kudasai." That was very exciting to be able to order a coffee. As I got a little bit better at Japanese, my pronunciation started getting a bit better, I think, and people started to assume that I could speak a lot more Japanese than I was capable of. And that made me anxious because I wasn't quite there yet. People were very interested to ask me where I'd come from and when I travelled to Japan, what I'm doing here, how I'm finding it. But my speaking ability is very limited because my job I only use English. So I was feeling anxious about interacting with people, which made me feel a bit confined to myself, I guess. This is my own fault, of course. I did choose to move to Japan with no Japanese skill. It was around this time that I was really feeling the negative effects of not being able to understand the world around me. And I have to say that homesickness got a bit worse at this point, which in combination with all of these culture shocks made it feel worse. But I stuck it out, I got a bit better at Japanese, and I got a bit more confident that I would be able to figure out any situation, so the anxiety started to lessen. I don't want to be so negative about it because I'm very grateful to have had the opportunity to even experience culture shock. It means that I managed to integrate into a whole new culture. It means I've been able to learn so many new things about a different culture and completely widen my perspective. All I'd say to anyone experiencing culture shock right now is that it does pass, and I know that's very easy for me to say, and I bet it's annoying to hear, but it will pass. Until it passes, just go easy on yourself. Of course you're finding it hard to do new things in a completely different culture, and just being kind to yourself in that way will start to ease some of the anxiety or negative feelings about living in this new culture. Also remember that you're learning new things about the world, and that is a wonderful thing to be able to experience. So personally, these things I'm about to talk about helped me get through culture shock. First, I watched my favourite TV shows and films without pressure to watch them in Japanese for study. This made me feel more relaxed, and I got the joy from watching my favourite things. The American Office being one, Friends, Anne with an E, my all-time favourite on Netflix. As I mentioned before, getting a bit better at Japanese helped my anxiety, and also really taking time to experience and appreciate this new culture helped me too, and reminding myself that this was not something I was going to be able to experience in the UK, and that made me feel more grateful to have culture shock. Of course, calling my friends and family regularly in the UK on FaceTime and messaging, just keeping up to date with them, that helped a lot with the homesickness as well, just to feel a little bit closer to home. And also travelling a lot helped me to see new places and make new memories, reminded me of why I took this crazy life decision in the first place. So if you're feeling culture shock, you're feeling down, go out and see something new. I'm sorry I didn't talk so much about what I was doing in this sketchbook. I had a lot to say. Sorry. But I finished this page and I quite like it. Today's video is only 2 pages, quite a short one. Like I said, we went to Miyazaki. I went with my boyfriend and our friend Katie. So I printed this Polaroid off of a flower festival we went on the way to Miyazaki. In Miyazaki we went bowling, and I got this gacha little cute plant thing. I think I got the best one. Maybe this one was cool too, but I think I like this one so much. We went to the beach and we played some games on the beach, which is very, very fun. I decided to put this little quote, "That it will never come again is what makes it so sweet." And it really reminds me that really living in the moment is important. And this is the ticket to the flower festival in this picture. Then the next page. This page is a bit random, I'm not gonna lie. It was my birthday and I kept some bits from my birthday, including this card that I loved. I had this map, so I stuck it in. It's the map of Kyushu. Miyazaki is down here, but I stuck this in on this page as kind of a symbol of sticking around Kyushu and seeing things that are close to us. We also went to a fireworks festival around the time of my birthday, and it was a really memorable experience for me, so I wanted to put this picture in. It was also my first fireworks festival in Japan, and so it felt quite special. We went with a whole group of people. It was a really nice night too. We went on a mini 3 weekend day trip to Osaka, It was quite a chilled one. We went to meet our friends that came across from the UK on a holiday. Ayush and Akil, we met up with them actually in Kyoto, not Osaka. I'm just remembering now. So I need to change this. Ignore this part that says Osaka. That is wrong. I will change it, I promise. That is that. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did like it, please consider giving it a like and maybe subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm posting a whole bunch of different content, mainly art content recently, but also stuff about living in Japan too. Let me know your thoughts on culture shock. Have you experienced culture shock? If you have, then what helped you deal with it? Maybe we can learn from each other's experiences and persuade more people to take the jump and move to a different country. Have a beautiful day everyone, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!